of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Saint Joseph,
Pray for us.
in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. So today, tugenda kwogera about mental prayer. Some of you may be asking, mental prayer, Chechi. Mental prayer is part of your plan of life. Okay, it should be part of your plan of life. Just in case, plan of life. The first time you hear plan of life for you is of Wambanchi, or maybe I'm talking about what are your goals, maybe which kind of job you want to have next year, what are your plans after COVID, those things. But it's nothing. It's more than the world. You're a car, and your plan of life is like an engine that helps you to run your car well. Mubulamu bwaffe obwa bulijjo tosobola tugeze obanga tumanyi kyogenda. Let's say you have planned tomorrow. You wake up knowing chinecha ngenda kugenda waneno, maybe I have to run my errands this no genda nechima chino kola files no genda ku mulimu. There may be oba muzadde maybe mpinga abaana oba maybe nina files ez'okumala. But if you wake up tomorrow when you did not plan that day, everything will be a disaster. That means maybe ekintu ky'obadde prioritizing asinga abadde planning kyogenda okusembyayo ate oli kikole bubi nnyo kubanga tewakiplanningidde kibajja kuba kitegeeza nti wawo byebadde ogenda okukola enkya byebadde olina okutuukiriza byotagenda nakukola because you have not planned. Buli kintu okitomera butomezi. It's like if some of you have studied management by crisis, so at buli kintu oba okitomera because you have planned nothing. So if you live your life without a plan of life, that means you'll be managing by crisis. A plan of life means that you plan. A plan of life could involve maybe mental prayer, a visit to the Blessed Sacrament, spiritual reading. It could involve plan of life.
Rosary.
The Rosary, Mass, daily Mass, morning offering, examination. Yeah. But your plan of life, you should be generous. You know your day better. Or maybe I'm this busy. Category no planning, but you have to be generous with yourself. Don't put everything into mental prayer, visit, everything like every day if you know you're not going to handle everything. Put the things that you can manage. If you can manage morning mass, daily mass, yes. Daily mass, mental prayer, spiritual reading, your visit. Instead of packing everything, it's like when your year ends and then you make 1,000 resolutions, not to support any. It's like you even labored for nothing. So now mental prayer is part of our plan of life. What is mental prayer? Mental prayer, according to Saint Joseph Maria, is that interior recollection with God. A simple conversation with God, like a heart-to-heart conversation with God. It does not have to be verbal. You just, maybe the best place to have your mental prayer could be in front of the Blessed Sacrament. You have to go through your day. For example, if you have to be cautious of your duties, because if you have to, but you do not have to fit your duties. Okay, you have to fit your duties into God's plan, yes. But you don't have to neglect everything that you're doing because you're doing what? You're praying. You have to put your mental prayer at a time that is more convenient to you, so that you don't make excuses. Convenience, I do not mean when you're when you have done doing, when you have finished doing like your daily things, everything, because prayer comes first. So you can't tell me that maybe I'll do my mental prayer after all my errands and all that. You could do your mental prayer very early in the morning, or you could do your mental prayer in the evening, talking to God, maybe telling him about tomorrow and all that. it is you could say how. Okay, so there's a saying who asks, how can you finish your daily work with perfection when you do not pray? Because if you have if you pray to God, you have this conversation with God during mental prayer, that means you talk about what you're going to do, you talk about what you did, you talk about how you did what you were supposed to do. But without mental prayer, there is no reflection. You don't think about how your day has gone. You're not going to start talking to someone maybe into so even the anger, even mental prayer, even if it's not even spiritual, it helps you health-wise. Because when you speak to God, God is love. So you cannot bring hatred to God. Even when you're very angry, you can talk to God. You just look at the tabernacle. And then you think about how your day has gone, what has angered you. Prayer has to come before everything. Pharaoh paragraph 465. Bagamba, just 1 minute. Saint Joseph Maria Tugamba. Someone who has never prayed, just 1 minute of intense prayer is enough. Because everyone are trying out to look for like maybe their convenience. How can I be there? Spending all that time in just what? In just prayers, praying. If you have been in a relationship, it could be your mother, it could be your husband, it could be a friend, or maybe an acquaintance, maybe in their conversation. You cannot tell me that you're going to go there and then you spend 1 minute of intense conversation and then you tell me it's enough. So why? Hello. So why is it that with God we are so mean to the extent that one minute of intense prayer is enough for God? Yet He has given us like so much time. He has given you 24 hours of your day, and then you have given Him 1 minute of intense prayer, and you're saying it's enough. We should remember that we are in this world, but we are on a journey. Sometimes we forget, and then we put our energy where we should not put it, in earthly things. And if we do not start a day with God, that means, there's a time, I'm not sure of the saint, but I think you have all heard of this story. I think it was Saint Joseph Maria. Then he gave them more time instead to spend doing their prayers and all that. And guess what? When he gave them more time, some people say they do not have time to maybe to do their mental prayer. Let me give an example of daily mass. Some people say they have no time for daily mass, even when it's available. Sometimes maybe your job is strict by SARS, so obviously, sometimes you can't have mass. But if you can have mass, you have realized that a day without mass is different from a day with mass. Because no more Gambian, so it's the same. Now mental prayer. When I wake up early in the morning and then I talk to God, mental prayer is not the same as spiritual reading, because here you talk to God and you listen to God. You have to listen to God because He's communicating to you. That's why it's very important you do your mental prayer. Because even in the Bible, he came in silence. He did not come, what they expected. No. So let's have time with Christ. The same way you want to have time with other people. Give God his due. The best place to have your mental prayer is at the tabernacle because there are less distractions. Buli muntu agenzeyo aba agenze kusoma sala ze. Ate God's presence is God is everywhere, yes, but his presence is more felt because mwali mu tabernacle. And if he has decided to be in that prison of love just for you, let's not generalize things. Because but think about him as your Jesus, your friend, my friend. I have a conversation because mental prayer is a conversation. I have to talk to Jesus. And I have plans tomorrow. Maybe I have an outing, or maybe I have to go to town. If maybe she could have told me something about what I'm going to do, or maybe warned me about something, and then tomorrow maybe because I also, part of me thinks it could be wrong. I just go to town. Whom do I call first? I'll call mommy. So let's not do that to God. You're pulling him into your mess, yet he could have saved you. During mental prayer, when you're talking to Christ, sometimes you get answers to things that you have been questioning yourself about. Maybe when you tell him tomorrow, maybe, okay, tomorrow I'm going to shop for this. Maybe ogamba katonda yenge katonda yensaba omukuuma ebichi omponyo obubenje omponyo kino ne kino ngenda sanga mukwano gwange bwaki nsaba obinyanguize. Your life is easier because ogenda kera kumacha you're walking with Christ everywhere you go. You're not just calling him to handle your mess. Oshegera, this is your friend. You have told him about everything. Okay, Maria is going this and this. No one she's going to do this and this. No one ogenda funa buzibu. Agenda chikwangwiza because no muntu abanga agenda kukalwiza olunaku. There is a way he melts people's hearts. I don't know. I think most of you know, like, do your plan of lives, eh? Plan of life. Naye wobanga okoze wobanga okoze gundi mental prayer yo obulungi ennyo. But mental prayer does not mean that ogenda wali and then you just speak things like blah, and then you keep quiet and wait for God. It's a conversation with God. First, remember, who am I talking to? Yes, God is a friend, but who am I talking to? He's God, the God of the universe. But there are these katonda wa bujja ate katonda wa kwagala katonda wa tisa. So you have to know, whom am I talking to? I'm talking to God, yes. Togenda genderyo just omulagiri oberenganga mbulia. You have to take him through your things. Know that he will either say yes or no. But most of the times, of course, we want him to say yes. But you have to be ready to go with his will. Sometimes God's will is confusing because you may speak with him during your mental prayer and then your day turns upside down and then you're like, Katonda wange nakedda kumacha no haniko mubulya kubani ababadde basenze ninjogera nawe nekubulya ku nnaku lwange naye ngenze kunimu sina kyenfunyeyo ngenze waneno kati banfunye n'ebizibu naye nagambye nti ngenze omusajja anfunye obunyi bwenakubulidde. So it's like God has abandoned you or something. But those are the times that you should remember that those are the best times, because you have to take advantage of those times. Because Katonda gwetwogerako, he suffered. Era n'abatuukirivu abamu Sister Faustina, all those moments that God would give her trials. Yagamba went to Nkolachi, Mikwano Jange. Faustina, am I right? Went to Mikwano Jange. So you have to know that in every Christian's life, mubedamu omusalaba. So togenda kugamba kino because there are motivations. Prayer involves motivations. Oyinza okusanga nga ekyo Katonda yes kiwadde omusabi naye nga kino ky'otuuseeko okusooka olina okimotifyinga so that ky'omusa akuwa ekituufu mu butuufu bwamu. Kubanga sometimes you ask for nga bagamba kino, even the Bible says nti siri nti no Katonda, you ask and you will receive, seek and you will find. So when you're asking for something, God wants the best for you more than you do. Because God knows until we first know him watching, Kachigena Mukoyot, Sharon will watch you, Chigena Mutusa Neda Kamwe. I saw you handling Gobroji Natukanechi, Nepuchi, for us to come on in until I have asked, I talked to God. Then the other thing that I want to talk about is spiritual dryness. Sometimes, I do not feel like praying. But praying is not about feelings. A conversation with God is not about feelings. Because you don't even feel his presence. Or maybe you have gone through so much that even prayers make me angry. Because maybe you have because maybe we are blind. Sometimes we have been given the best, but we have failed to see it. Because sometimes it's other people that even see what God has given us. Simply because for you wanted a car and God is giving you something else. Something that is going to help you better than that car. You don't want to see this. You don't want to see that good health. Yet some people are dying of cancer. You do not want to see a chance to education when some people have not even had any. You do not want to see these good people, that opportunities that God has brought into your life. Yet other people are seeing your wealth. So sometimes not everything that you pray for. Bikira Maria wali Chibeho. One of the girls yamugamba aleke ebyokusoma akoleki agenda like ajumbire ebyeddiini asabe and all that. Yet as for twatulaba tugamba everyone should be what? Educated. But we forget that this is just a part. Education, your education should take you to God. Yes, okay, you will be educated of no minimum, but it's a good thing, but it should all be for the glory of God. It should be like prayer. Because prayer comes first in everything. So when you go in prayer and then you talk to Jesus and he doesn't give you what you want, be grateful because you do not know what he has saved you from. Maybe Singo me, it would have cost your soul. Yes, education is good, but maybe Singo Mazeko, maybe something could have happened. Your education, maybe whether you're going to bursary, maybe out of the country, everyone has studied there, yeah, you want to go there also, and then mama go either tuka or maybe you have a gaddeo or go tuka buys clothes and there's no admissions. Be grateful because and then ask God that his will may be done because his will is the best for us. I'm not saying this because I always accept God's will, but it's a struggle. Everyone struggles. That's why we have each other. Just in my spiritual life, but maybe in Faustino, and then he gives you a different perspective of something that you have refused to accept. So it's good sometimes to have to listen to the talks that are being given and to also listen to God when you go and pray. That maybe I have asked for this and then you want to give the answer yourself. Be ready Just the same way you go and then ask for a job and know they will either reject you or give you the job. Then do not be discouraged, however unworthy you are. Sometimes, nabadde nsoma kitabu ka Saint Teresa ngagamba, they call this false humility. Ngagamba nti sometimes she wouldn't do, there was, okay, before she got so devoted to Christ, there were times she would not pray because she thought she was unworthy. She thought she couldn't have a conversation with Christ because she was unclean. She had this, she was sinful. Tatukiridde. Bwe mbadde nkola kinva mu church, if you get a chance to get mass one of these days, ekifaananyi kiri wa sister wa Yesu w'obusaasizi. Jesus was talking to us. He was saying that he came for the sinners. He came for, because he died for us, yes. He came ne wali ayigiriza yagamba nti yajja kukola ki? Yajja kununula boonoonyi. So why are you running when you have a healer? When you can, even when you're so embarrassed, because the only way to go back to Jesus is through Christ or through his mother. Even when you feel that you're so dirty you can't talk to Jesus, at least go and just look at him. Give him his 15 minutes, give him his 30 minutes, give him his 1 hour in silence with him, because he's the only one that's going to make you better. Bagamanti, joyongero okubeera n'omuntu, sometimes joyongero okukola ki? Okusiika either obuzeebu obubi oba empisa ze ennungi. So whenever you go to Christ, you're going to start think, kati nfunye kino. What would Jesus do? Jesus also suffered. I'm going through the same thing. You're asking for strength. Sometimes togenda kuhealinga, sometimes tekigenda kubaawo ekikubonyaabonya, even when you have talked to Jesus. But sometimes when you, almost all the times when you speak to Christ, ekizibu oyinza okisigaza but then obeera nga atakirina, because they say he said his yoke is easy, his burden is light. And it is very true. Because crosses are blessings to us, because we are sinners. Without the crosses, without the suffering that you go through, what are you going to mortify? What are you going to mortify? And then the strength, we'll get it from Christ, because he'll give us the graces. When you go to mental prayer, ask God, I'm failing here. Nange ndi mwana ngawa omutukirivu ngawa Sister Faustina akajegera ka gold okumutaliza ebibi ebyonono omwoyo. Nange ndi mwana ng'omukazi yali mu Bible yagamba tinembwa zikola tinembwa ziri obukunkumuka. Pray with humility, knowing that you're nothing. The worst thing that you can do during prayer is carrying your pride along with you. When you go to do your mental prayer, you're with Christ. Open your heart. Don't start thinking you're better than anyone, because you're a sinner. Open up yourself to Christ. Don't start hiding your sins, because he already sees them. Sister Faustina yagamba olumu, Jesus listened to my conversation like as if he knew nothing. Yet Katonda abadde naye mu lunaku luno, but he listens to you. He wants you to tell him, because he's your friend. He wants you to come to him. He doesn't want to force you to come and have a conversation with him, because he's there waiting. Then you choose someone over him. Yet they have no solutions for you. He has a better solution for you. That's why when you go to Bugala or Paragraph, in most cases, your spiritual director does not want to talk to you before they talk to God. Because when they have that conversation with God, God knows you better. So if I know tomorrow maybe I'm going to talk to Barbara. If I'm talking to Barbara tomorrow I'm going to talk to Jesus about Barbara. Maybe our last conversation was about this and this. Yes. The next time, that's why sometimes when you talk again, you know, because he's helping you or she's helping you on behalf of Christ. And she had a conversation with Christ about you. A penitent soul once prayed, Lord, I do not deserve to be heard because I am wicked. But this soul added, Yet listen to me because you are good. God does not judge you. You're talking to Christ and he's looking at you, maybe saying you do not deserve. God is love. So he gives you his all. It's you to either reject his love or embrace his love. Even when you fall over how many times, go and talk to Jesus. Because he created you, he knows you better. So talk to him. Tell him, Jesus, yes, I know I went to confession yesterday, but in the maybe Jesus, I keep on doing this. Jesus, because when you go to Christ, you become a better person. When you talk about this, you know, yesterday I did this and this. Maybe you talk to Christ. When you talk to him, because he's holy, you want to be like Christ. Because God is holy, he wants us to be as holy as he is. So when you go and talk to him about everything that is going wrong in your life, he'll give you the graces. You come back and fight. That's why I was against you going out without talking to Christ, without having this conversation with Christ. But you're going out into the world, Stan is seen to us and you can Sharon, she was in need of this, you helped her out, maybe you motivated her and there that you're fighting to continue. So when you go and talk to someone, you're not going to pour school fees. It's when you babble out your mental prayer, it makes no sense. It's not valid because it's like you don't value the time with Christ. And then you reach there, you want her to tell you everything. You listen to her. She listens to you because you want to listen to everything that has been happening. Because a mother or a friend would want to know what their friend is going through. What happened? But Jesus has already showed his concern for us. So we should not hesitate to tell him everything that is going wrong, or maybe our joyful times. And when you go to Christ, you do not have to hurry the conversation, because it takes time to get to go intensely to intimately get involved into a conversation with Christ. Even when if it's a relationship, you can't just meet someone and then everything goes twa. You have to know this person. Yes, maybe you don't know which he'll fill me with his love. Katonda maybe kusasira nine bibi namunyiziza, but he is mercy. He will listen to me. Start slowly. Just the same way as you have a conversation. Maybe but when you give them an ear, things will get intense. He will tell you everything. Sometimes someone may come and then speak to you. If you give them no attention, but when they are very heavy. But when they come and speak to you and you give them your attention, they'll even reach a point because they want to pour out everything. They have gotten a chance to get someone of which those people are very few in this world. So if we have Christ, at least we can go there. Let's not give him 15 minutes, because it is important that in a conversation, because first and foremost, when you talk about some things, you're given the graces, or some virtues, for example, patience. If you've not been patient with people, when you talk to Christ, maybe sometimes, or even but when you speak to Christ, because sometimes maybe they overdid it, but we provoked them. Maybe, yes, maybe or maybe on your but maybe it was my fault. Or maybe but you were already in the wrong place at the right time, and you know that it was all your fault. So in mental prayer, we talk to Christ and listen to Christ, and then you're now patient with people. You're more understanding. You get excuses for people as a Christian. Not all the times. It's not all the times that we should be right. Sometimes we have to let peace reign. So in mental prayer, you become more like Christ. Because now in mental prayer, you're talking to God. So you're talking to Him about someone maybe what did someone maybe and then you flamed. So you're talking to Christ and then you're remembering what Jesus did. But He just kept quiet. Then you're telling Him, I cannot. You're being honest with Him, Jesus. I cannot. So you can't tell me to keep quiet, to remain silent, to bow my head to someone who is throwing insults at me, to someone who is doing this and this. But it's then that God is going to give you this precious. Now how did I do this? Some saints are asked, Bishop Shin was once asked that, how do you do all these things? Then he said, I spend 1 hour in front of a tabernacle. So you do great things that you were incapable of. Remember that man dies as he has lived. So don't think that all of us have a chance to conversion at the 11th hour. Some of us may get sick maybe and get the sacraments, but we should be as scouts, always ready. So it's apart this mental prayer. Sometimes you should have this conversation with God even throughout your day, because in most cases you're follow it. In most cases let me do this, let me keep quiet for Christ. And in your mental prayer, you shouldn't be selfish, because you may be asking, not everyone. Okay, when I ask you that what is love, definition. Some people think that love is when you are loved. What is love? Yeah, that's love. But let us be sure we know what love is. Love is outgoing. It's unselfish. Love is active. It means giving rather than self-seeking. So don't be always on the receiving side. Give yourself wholly to Christ. Because even when you say, I do not know how to love you, God, you have already started praying. You have already started asking. So start from there. Do the small things for love. When you clothe the needy, when you help out other people, there's omchala until they are dead in her home. Kati, she was rich, but she would spend. I'm not saying you should spend all your salary, but she would spend her salary until it was done. The needy, the sick, the elderly. But sometimes she would first challenges nganti no anabana abagala okubba bandi bagenda yo ndowooza nti naweereza funds kumbe babba, but she did not stop. So when you love Christ, you do not stop simply because I asked for this and he did not give it. Or maybe I would not help her because maybe you're not doing it for her. You're doing it for Christ. And most people do not change because you hate them. Most people change because they see Christ in you. You have loved them. Love changes things. Sometimes you do not have to be angry at someone. If you have, okay, the little psychology that I know, you could use a bit of reverse psychology. So sometimes, I just abused her and she has done this, like, but you're not doing it for them. You're winning heaven. In fact, they are helping you. When you live a life and your health environment, maybe there are those little things that are going to help you reach sainthood, that are going to be your prayer, that are going to even help you speak to God, have this conversation throughout your day. For example, maybe and then maybe into and then I speak to Jesus. This is for my friend who is failing in their plan of life. This is for my friend who doesn't have a job. This is for my friend who does not understand you, who does not love you. Maybe this and all that. You could pray for them because you love God. When you love God, you care for what hurts Christ. In conversation with God, that means you're going to know. Let me do this. You make yourself better without even knowing. You get more virtues. You become a completely different person because you're trying to become like Christ even without realizing it. So, one needs no bodily strength for mental prayer. No. You just need love and making it a habit. Don't come today and then today I'm here, tomorrow I'm not there. That's lukewarmness. If you have an appointment with Christ, make it a point. Don't say ate chikatibani nange nali ngenda musalo kumacha mental prayer yange ya sawa 10 midda kati mental prayer bana kisome kiro akangere musalo mental prayer anja kisome kiro. That means you might even not say it. You're going to even say it the wrong way because apparently you'll be doing it as a duty, or maybe chikola kanchikola ate spiritual director inagenda yenchi agenda bimbuza namugamba position because. But when you do it out of love, you're like, I cannot leave my God waiting. At 4 no way now. Okay, the salon lady can wait. I can maybe talk about her coming home or maybe ninzogenda yenchi. But not when you start extending your plan of life